Hello everyone, welcome to Map the Dragon Railways, and today in this video it is my Roger Bay Railway update. Now I don't think I've ever filmed an update on this model railway, but for about 2 years all it had received is a couple bits of grass mat and that was it. So all of a sudden I went to an exhibition and I went mad. After that I was doing quite a lot of work on the layout, and this video is just showing you what I've done on it, as well as showing you new locos I've acquired since October 2021 and other things like loco maintenance and future ideas for the layout. So anyway, to start off I'm going to show you what I have been doing on the layout. So yeah, let's begin with what I've done on the layout. So to start off with, I've put some shrubbery down, some bushes by Jarvis Scenics, and basically that's helped enhance the layout a little bit. It's only little details, but it will eventually enhance the layout a lot. Focus on little details and the whole picture sort itself out, as they can say. I also added a couple bits of rail in between a curve outside the cafe on the layout, and this is to resemble old track that's been replaced, but they haven't properly disregarded with it. They've just dumped it in the middle of the track. That is not glued down, and there's a reason why it's not glued down, and that's because I haven't ran every single locomotive I've got yet to know all the clearances and everything, because knowing me, I'll glue them down and then a locomotive will stop or have a big problem with it, meaning I'd have to tear it up. So for now they can freely move if a locomotive knocks it, but I haven't really noticed any problems with it, but you know, I'm just doing that for now. Another thing, I've had a general move around. I moved the farm, but I'll get onto the farm in a moment. And I've actually moved the house around. It's an old Hornby house, and it was done up as a diorama. All I've done is flipped it round, and that's it. But I just thought that was a nice little change. So basically, on the layout for ages, and you would have noticed in videos, I had this massive plain gap that isn't very nice to look at on the layout. Half of it's painted green. When I did attempt to add some colour, but it still didn't look alright, you know, especially for YouTube. Now, even to this day, I don't know what to do on the on that section, but for now I decided I'll glue down some grass mat, and then I've actually added some leftover from these little 00 gauge trees I got, where the leaves have fallen off, and I've just scattered them around to make like some bushes starting to grow up. And I've even added a thing of flowers I've done, which you may have seen on a YouTube short. Yeah, that's not the best flowers I've ever done, but it helps fill in the scene a little bit. Also, I've been doing some general ballasting any places that over the years of hoovering and cleaning it up, or just places where I've actually missed the ballast and just temporarily filled it in and then keep hoovering it up. I've officially stuck all that down now, and I've refilled it all. So that is much better, and even in a space where I had a sign, I've put another one of those flowers in. Next, on to ballasting again. I have actually done some ash ballast. Now, you may see my Yorkshire based micro layout, which is just a stretch of track called Grove, and basically I used some ash from the East Somerset Railway, from the Locomotives, and mixed it with like PVA and all that to make like a lovely paste, and I just weathered the track with it. Well, what I decided to do with the rest of the ash I had is just chuck it all down, weather the track down a bit. I've done this by Nelsonsborough Station, you know, where locomotives will be sat for a while terminating and all the muck off the steam engines sit there. And also in my largest siding on the layout, that in the entrance has that, where sometimes I have a locomotive parked there. So that has really enhanced the layout a lot. It's just a little thing, and I've just done it in the same ballasting technique of sprinkling it down, water and some soap, and basically all the watered down PVA glue mix, and leave it for, you know, however long. And that seems to have done a really good job on the layout and made it look really nice. So next I am going to go on to buy the engine shed. Now next to that engine shed I had a few ideas. An abandoned locomotive there, or one that's just about to seek restoration. and I decided to go with an outdoor workshop area. So got a few old Airfix figures, RAF figures, and I've put them on there to look like they're working. One's got a load of ammunition made to look like he's working on some Locomotives rods, and then we got two that one's actually holding up a gun, but you can't really see it as a gun, and he's just passing it to someone on the wagon. So yeah, that's just a little scene that come out nice. All I done was get a bit of Amazon packaging, cardboard, cut to size, paint it grey, and then I made sure I had it a bit more black in there to add grub and all that, and then later on I splodged on a little bit of red and some green paint, and I've added all sorts of things. Like on the wagon I've loaded wheels that I've painted up to look a bit old and rusty. I will enhance them eventually, don't worry, they're not the best, it's just a dark earth paint at the moment, but that's from an old Airfix kit for the tanker wagon that I've completed. And basically they come with metal wheels now, but they still have the old moulded plastic ones on the sprue, so I just made the use out of them. And a lot of the locomotive parts, you see rods and a vacuum pipe. Now all that is actually from an old Airfix kit that I got for £1 on eBay. I actually used the locomotive to make into like 4110 when she arrived at East Somerset at the start of her restoration, and basically ever since I've had a load of spare parts from it, and I've been just using them, and I thought I'd put them out there and it looked nice. I also added some Great Western Railway station fencing. I think it looks quite nice with the black fencing around, and that was leftovers from my micro layout called Little Kingston. So as I'd say earlier, I'd go on to the farm, and basically the farm did have a turnaround, and the cows have been moved a little bit in the field to look like, well, to go with the diorama that the house come with, where the cows have escaped over the fence and, you know, what have you, causing havoc. And then I decided I'd do the same with my how I'd done the workshop bit of cardboard, and I'd done all by the stables, and put the horse there for now. And I actually replaced all the ballast, because if you remember it was just all ballast in that area, and walls. I did move the walls about, but yeah, used to be all this ballast. I took all that up, and I decided to put different type of ballast down and properly glue it down, because before it was all loose. And I've even put down an old car that's had tarpaulin put over it and what have you. So yeah, that came out quite nice on the farm. I then got into static grass applicating. Now I no longer have the applicator that I was borrowing off my friend, so I just used it as like scattering, you know, pinch it down like that, and basically PVA glue, do that on it and hoover it up, and helps it stand on end a little bit. And I've actually done that by the main junction, so I have some grass that's, you know, growing out, but you know, it's made to look like it's been looked after and maintained by the P-Way gang, of course, on the railways, and just you know, it's there to help enhance the look. Also around there I've weathered the track, and had to replace a couple of bits of track. Just I had some weird electrical problem that you may notice in the videos. There's a couple of pins that I've just painted brown. Those are temporary. Basically that track was up, and it wouldn't run properly. The entire layout wouldn't run properly unless I had it fixed down, which is understandable. So basically that's why that's there. I also done some more static grass by Nelsonsborough Station. You may have noticed it in an earlier clip, and that's an old piece of abandoned track. You may have noticed a Thomas the Tank Engine coach, Clarabelle, and you sit on it, and I've basically done the same trick all over the track, make it look all a bit overgrown, but still, you know, it's looked after and abandoned. And for now I've got the locomotive on it. I've got a couple at the moment, a couple of Trianellis, but I do have plans to eventually add on like an old locomotive that's all rusted and horrible, or an old wagon. So that's all of the scenery I've done on the model railway. So it's time to get on to my new locomotives I've acquired since October 2021. Now onto the locomotives I've acquired since October. Now if you want to see any of these in a review, please do comment down below telling me so, because I will deeply consider filming it. I most likely will. I've actually got some of these on the list to possibly review in the future. So anyway, to start off with, in October I went to the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway, and I went in their little shop, and I was there for ages looking at all the locomotives. You know, I got this money and I thought, oh, I'm going to treat myself to a locomotive, but didn't know what to get until I saw a certain locomotive and I saw its livery, and the livery was just beautiful on it, and I decided I'm getting it. So as I turn around, this is what I purchased. Now it's a Bachmann C-Class locomotive, but as you can see it's in the beautiful SE and CR livery, that lovely lined green, and it's just exquisite with all the lining, and it has fantastic cab detail. You probably can't see it, but yeah, it's a really nice locomotive, and you may have seen it in the channel trailer. So yeah, it's a very nice locomotive, so if you want to see that in a review, please do let me know in the comments. Then I came across a little bit extra money to spend, and with the extra money I had left from buying the C-Class, I actually bought this Lima 08 shunter. Now you've probably seen it in the video I already made, and it was basically green, and I've painted it into one of my favourite liveries for the 08, which is the BR black with the red rods, and I gave it window glazing and all that. And if you want to see about that, I shall link the video into the description. Then December 25th hit. Well, you know what that means. It's time you get some new wonderful locomotives as a gift. And one of these, I don't know if you can get all in shot, so I'll just move about. I got the Coca-Cola Summertime train set with the D-tank in the Coca-Cola livery. Now it comes with wonderful rolling stock, but I think it comes with this really charming D-tank, which I think it's wonderful. It's quite a nice looking livery on this loco, and it suits it quite well. That's not only the only train set I actually got for Christmas. I actually got this iTraveller 6000 train set with the Bagnall shunter. Got some nice rolling stock, but it's got the very important and interesting controller that you actually operate using your phone, tablet, or any other device like that. I've tried it out, and it's quite an interesting controller. So if you want to see anything to do with this, or just the controller, do comment below. But as I said, it comes with this wonderful little Bagnall shunter, and it's quite a pleasant little locomotive. Then on the same day, I got from someone, a wonderful family member, a Bachmann Small Prairie. This is the 4575 variant, and this will eventually have some work done to it, as I shall explain later. But yeah, in the nice GWR livery, currently numbered 5531. So yeah, this is a really nice locomotive, and the Bachmann Prairies are quite a popular model. Then, after the 25th, I ended up with some money, as you sometimes do, and I went to Frome Model Exhibition, as you would have seen last week if you are a fellow follower of the channel, and I spent a bit of money. I was going around and I saw this big store, and I can't even remember the name of the people who were selling, otherwise I would have deeply recommended them. And it had the massive table, all Bachmann, Hornby, everything separated. And I was there. It took a while, you know, just looking about what there is. And a chap moved a box of a Bachmann Midland compound in BR black, and I was like, it's nice, but I would love the crimson one if I ever saw it. And underneath was a crimson Bachmann compound, but it wasn't the ordinary compound in the crimson. No, it was the National Railway Museum Special Edition of LMS 1000. Now this is a beautiful locomotive, and it seems to be unable to leave the layout. It goes so well, you know, it's up there with my favourites, especially with this livery. And there's some parts in it that's just so realistic. It's got great cab detail, and yeah, it's just overall a beautiful locomotive that you will definitely be seeing on the channel a lot. So yeah, this is a beautiful locomotive. Even now I don't want to put it down because I'm just admiring it so much. So yeah, beautiful locomotive. Now I'm sure one of you will want to see a review of that. I didn't stop there with the compound. No, I did not. I picked up a small diesel locomotive, and I also picked up a Mark 1 and I picked both of these up for £75 when the diesel alone was listed at that price. That diesel I bought was a Bachmann Class 25 all weathered. I saw this and I was like, but you're not a diesel enthusiast as much, you're more of a steam person. You should buy a steam engine. But this thing kept lingering in my head and I was like, I've got to buy it. I feel like if I go home now, I'm going to regret not buying it. So I did buy it, and I think it looks nice to have a nice little dirty diesel on here. Nice weathering on it, on the roof and that. It has working lights, and it has 2 massive brass flywheels inside that mean it's really smooth when it stops. It's actually so smooth that you feel like you've left the power on when you've cut it right off. It's that amazing, and if you want to see that in a review, please do let me know. So that's all the locomotives I've bought and acquired and was given and all that since October 2021. So yeah, it's quite a lot there, isn't there? So it's quite a lot to bump up the collection, and I believe I'm in the 60s with the amount of locomotives I got. Yes, 60s. Now on to locomotive repairs and general work. Basically, I got my Triang Ginty that I got for £10. If you're a long viewer, you would have seen it. And you may notice and may know about these older Triang locos. Sometimes the wheel flanges are way too big for modern track, and in the end it just runs along the sleepers and damages your sleepers. So the motor in that went into my Ivot, and it sat for about a year. A year later I decided, right, it's time to get this locomotive going. I have access to a big metal lathe, and I'm going to work on it. And took the wheels apart and done that, and I did have some problems, which actually resulted to one side having to be hot glued back together. Yeah, that was great fun, and now it's a little bit wobbly, but it was going to be a lot worse otherwise, and I wouldn't have been able to straighten it up. Basically the plastic melted and all that. I don't want to bore you with all that information, but yeah, I've basically got a running Ginty now. It's not the greatest runner, but for what it is, it's actually quite good. Also, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, you may have noticed I once tried to restore and bring back to life a Triang Nelly that I was given. And if you watched that through, you realised I didn't fix it. I also sent it to Poshington 01, of which he told me I need a new armature. Of which I've had even more goes at it and try hard, to try and keep it as original as possible. And I basically failed doing that, and I have given in, and there's actually no way to fix that motor. And basically I'm going to buy a brand new refurbished one for it, so it should run really nicely. So yeah, that's in the future. Very soon I'll be buying that, but just not yet. Another piece of work is actually on one of these new locomotives, and I done it on the day I bought it, and that was the buffers on this 25. You may notice it's got some grease marks on it. On the buffers, that's what I added. I actually thought the model might have come with it, and I was actually in shock that it didn't. I felt like it was really missing that little touch. So all I done was cotton bud and some black paint, and you shall actually see this in one of the magazine issues in February, I think, the February issue. If you aren't subscribed to that, please do consider it. The information is in the description, and if you want to see about how I've done that, just email me asking for that sort of issue. So anyway, yeah, I painted that on. I thought it was missing it and it deserved it, so that's what I've done. Now I'm on to future ideas for the model railway and the locomotives in general. And the first one of that is, you may notice, a cottage that's been sat on its own for a while, and I've decided that needs sorting out. There is another one that needs to be built, and basically I'm just going to build a garden around the back and make it look quite nice. Then I've got onto renumbering. Now you may have heard me talk about the Prairie, and I said at the moment its number is 5531. The reason I actually wanted one of these is to make into 5542, seeing as I've actually worked on the locomotive in real life. So that is a future job to do. As well as my Ivot, that needs renumbering eventually to 46447. And finally, I've actually know I'm buying a certain locomotive since Hornby announced it. And earlier this year they announced the Hornby 6-wheeled variant of the Sentinel. And they announced 3 different liveries: the Manchester Ship Canal, a National Coalboard one, and then the Port of Bristol Authority PBA 39. Now this is quite this locomotive is quite close to me in a way, because I go on it almost every week. I'm always on that diesel, to the point that when Hornby announced it, quite a few people have said it needs a model of me on it, which I think is just great. So I'm thinking of buying, well, I am certain I'm going to buy it, and I do have thoughts of possibly modifying it because it's in an older livery that she wore in Bristol, and my thoughts are it's only like the buffer beams in the chassis, but paint it up as she is now, and even include a little figure of me on it, because why not? So yeah, that's all I've got planned for that. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. It's probably quite long. I've got a lot of editing to do, haven't I? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see more updates like this, do leave a like, and comment down below. Share this with your friends. Sharing is caring. It really helps the channel to grow. And also, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. This really helps the channel, and I'd be really appreciative if we could get to 1,000 subscribers soon, or in the next year or so. I know it's a big challenge, but fingers crossed I might get there. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I shall see you all next week. Cheerio for now.